We are back. Paralytic Activities podcast, Neil. We are now recording, and tonight, Neil, we have got Claire from the YouTube channel. Don't Scare Claire. We've got a special message from a famous vampire, and we'll be licking our fangs, Neil, over Claire's favourite horror film, The Lost Boys, plus more. So strap in, our kid. Strap in. Neil, I'm just going to hit the button. So let's go. Neil, before we start, I've got a surprise for you.
Yeah.
I have, yeah. We've got a new intro.
Really?
From our demon expert himself, Seth Constantine, Neil. He's now doing our intro. So,
sorry, Nick Stepani.
That's all right. Take it away, Seth.
Hey up, you little buggers. Welcome to Paralytic Activities Podcast. You're a one-stop shop for all things weird and spooky and creepy and kooky. All done with an ale or two. Sit back and relax, you little buggers.
So there you go,
I
Neil.
love that.
Yeah. Well, you know, we like to mix it up, don't we?
Yeah,
Have a little change. So, Neil, we've got Don't Scare Claire on the show tonight.
I'm looking forward to this, John.
Yeah. But first, before we do, Neil, comments from last week. And the week before, because we never done it last week, if you remember.
Oh, really?
No. So, Neil, we've got some comments from Reach Beyond Paranormal. Can't wait for this. You never fail to make me laugh. Bloody brilliant stuff on YouTube.
Oh, bless you.
Chris Bradley says a very interesting podcast. Great to see Jay on here, Jay Coop from last week, Neil, the Dudley tour guide. He does a fantastic tribute to Alice Cooper. Thanks, guys.
And now he only comes out for the summer, don't we, John?
Who?
Alice Cooper.
What's that then?
School's out.
School's out. Oh, yeah.
Come on, John, get with it.
I'm not really up on the Alice Cooper, Neil.
Why?
To be honest, I'm not. I know Poison.
Yeah.
I know School's Out for Summer.
Yeah.
And Be My Frankenstein. I like that one. Or is it Feed My Frankenstein? I've never got that right. And then, do you know? Have a guess where I heard that?
Where?
Wayne's World. It was on Wayne's World.
Really?
Yeah. Jamie Cooper says, thanks for having me. Yeah, Boston time. That's a good black country word right there. Katrina Bettina said, that rhymes now. What a great name. Katrina Bettina.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is she in between by any chance?
She could be. Enjoyed listening to this. Thank you, guys. Then our good friend, the Hayley Summergill, Neil. You know, fascinating discussion, guys. Took a dark turn with the hamster, though. Do you remember the hamster, Neil? If anybody hasn't listened to last week's episode with Orange Spills of Juice, Neil had a bit of a ruckus with an hamster there.
Yeah, I did.
So go and check that out. Neil, that'll do for the comments because we've got lots to get through. What have you been bloody up to?
You don't know what I'm up to, Johnny boy. I tell you what.
Do you know what, Neil? I wouldn't ask you if I didn't want to know.
I know. Well, the other day, John, I was walking up the street.
That's what you normally do.
Yes.
That's what you're
walking up the street. And I'm walking then, and on the other side of the road, there's a woman, right, in her house, just waving at me, John.
Waving at you?
I've never been in the street before in my life. I was just walking from Warsaw, and I went and took a back turn, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I stood there, right, waving at her. You're right. For about 30 seconds, waving at her. But I thought to myself, I don't ever know this woman. Who else in it? And I realised she was cleaning windows. I felt like a right prat, honestly. Anyway, John, the Circus of Orange is coming back up, eh?
Do you know, Neil, do you remember when we went?
Brilliant.
Fan bloody-tastic. Loved it, I did.
But the main character, you know, with the flowing blonde hair, John.
Oh, the leader.
Yeah,
the leader of the
fruits. The singer with the leather, you know, was like a bit of an art frog body with a leather on and everything.
You can imagine him in the Lost Boys with his shirt off, all oiled up with a saxophone, couldn't you?
Yeah. You know, he died, didn't he, John?
No way.
He did, yeah, he died last year.
You could have told me earlier on, Neil.
They've got a new frontman, like, you know.
Yeah.
But when I went and watched it, the best part of the show was the bloke he used to pull his skin, right, and he used to like clip it onto his chest, and he made a bat out of his skin, like, you know.
Bloody hell.
But he's in jail, John. We out there no more.
Is he really?
He's in jail. I think he's in for a long stretch.
He'll be stretching something in jail. Jesus Christ. He's got a butt plug or two.
And you know, I like me Witherspoons, don't I?
Your Weatherspoons, Neil.
Witherspoons.
No, it's Weatherspoons, Neil.
Wetherspoons, yeah.
You're normally withering when you walk out.
I like me Wetherspoons. I know it's cheap, right? But in a certain Wetherspoons, they do this beer called Blue Moon.
Love it. One of my
I
favourite
love
beers.
Blue Moon, not because I love vampires and you know, and wolves and all that, but it's a cracking drink, hey, John.
Did you say you love the wolves, Neil?
Not wolves.
Werewolves.
Werewolves.
You're a
John.
Baggies fan, Neil?
Werewolves.
You're never
John.
going to live that one down.
Anyway, there's a bloke at the bar, John, and he had two little puppies with him. One was called Calvin and one was called Cloyne. Oh, those lovely, man.
What do you mean?
They had two little puppies.
Yeah.
And I asked them the name. The one was called Calvin and one was called Cloyne.
What kind of dogs was that?
As boxers.
Was they? Sorry, I got interrupted then. Did you see the fly go across the screen?
No, did John?
That was paranormal, that was, Neil.
That
That was
probably was.
paranormal.
And he had a
if that was
picture-
on CCTV.
He had a pint of Blue Moon in his hand as well.
He
The
did,
worst
yeah.
thing about it.
And do you know what, Neil? Do you know we've got Claire on the show?
Yeah.
And we've all already discussed that her favourite film of all time, horror film, comedy, whatever, is The Lost Boys, Neil.
She's got a great taste.
Great
Oh, my
taste,
God.
great taste. But the other day, we was at Cannock Chase, weren't we, at the Castle Ring.
Yeah.
The very haunted Castle Ring, the bloody flies they made it. And I said, Neil, tonight we're going to watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, talk about synchronicity,
Mm.
right? We found, his daughter, who's in Florida at the moment, put him on voice call. And first thing out of her mouth was, do you know what Seb's mom, Seb is in Florida, is Floridian. Favourite film is Nosferatu,
Yeah.
Dracula,
I know.
synchronicity.
I know.
And then, Neil, what come on the radio?
What come on the radio, John? Ray Reardon had died.
Ray Reardon had died. Who was actually called Dracula back in the
His
80s
snooker player.
because he looked a bit like Dracula.
His nickname was Dracula.
And so the news went something like this. Breaking news, people, here on Heart FM, the incredible snooker player Ray Reardon has died. And now, here, for your listening pleasure, is the Pet Shop Boys and Heartbeat.
I know.
Neil, the video for Heartbeat had Dracula in the video. That is 4, in the space of 10 minutes, Dracula synchronicities.
And then after that, we went stopped to the pub there and we both had a steak.
We did, yeah. We both had a steak. This is very true. Very true. Anyway, Neil, so that's our little pleasantries. We ain't got a paranormal outside because you're back off the beer, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to lose weight. I've been
Yeah,
to the gym and what have you. And I've been playing racquetball and
And plus, it's a school night. So
Never-
what are you drinking? What are you drinking? He's on the vodka.
vodka and tonic.
I've got my little bat, my little vampire cup.
John, it looks like a lava lamp.
It does, yeah. I'm drinking. I'm finishing this off where I didn't finish last week, which is my Dracula Merlot. Have some bloody that, Neil.
Yes,
I think we're ready.
we are.
Let's bring in our guest tonight. And here she is. Evening.
Hello.
How the devil are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys?
I'm all right. Not too bad.
We're really good, but there's a pesky little fly in the
mate,
Boodog Tavern, which is my bar, which is where we do the podcast and that. And he keeps getting on the bloody camera.
He's a nightmare.
Yeah, I think it's Jeff Goldblum, Neil, from The Fly.
It probably is.
Anyway, so a little dicky bird has told me, Claire, that you love your vampires and you love all things, anything what bites your neck and sucks your blood. And I've also heard that you're a bit of a fan of what we do in the shadows. So
Yes.
I have got a special message for you, all the way. It is only from the man himself, Nandor the Relentless.
Stop it.
I have. Pin your lug elves back. Here we go. Take it away, Nandor.
Hello there. Not sure if I'm working this properly, but I am Nandor. My name is Nandor the Relentless, and I am a vampire. I live in this house with my friends and Colin Robinson. It's very fun. I have been asked if I can do a hello to Claire. So, hello. Okay, bye.
A man of very few words, Claire.
Oh yes, yeah. His I don't think his vocabulary stretches much further. So that was a good day.
You don't want Nando's, John.
No, that wasn't Nando's. No, that was someone from the chicken shop. That was Nandor, the relentless. Neil.
Okay.
Like I say, Claire, he has never watched What We Do in the Shadows. That is blasphemous, Neil. Blasphemous.
You never asked me to watch it, John.
I shouldn't have to ask you to watch it, Neil. It's a free country. You can watch what you bloody want. Stop
but-
watching rave videos from the 90s and actually delve into more than just Only Fools and Horses reruns on UK Gold. How about that?
Yeah, but that's what you do, John, when you buy yourself, you know what I mean? And don't get the violins out either.
Anyway, Claire, thanks for coming on the podcast. Just give us a brief synopsis of yourself, and so everybody who don't know who you are actually will find out who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Claire, and I am the weirdo behind the YouTube channel Don't Scare Claire. And basically, the channel all started when I was watching ghost shows. Like everyone, when they were growing up, like Most Haunted was always on the TV, and then like as I got a bit older, it started with like Ghost Adventures and things like that. And I was in the middle of a binging session just one afternoon, and I realized they were like skipping over the history bits, like quite like big gaps in between the history. And I'm like, I could do a better job than this. And I'm actually enjoying this a lot more than watching them just shout dude bro in the night vision camera, you know what I mean? So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just try and see what research I can come up with places that I find interesting, like either here in the UK or elsewhere, like in the USA, things like that. And so I started posting on the 1st of October last year, and it's just gone from strength to strength since then. So I will cover all of the history of a location, everything that I can uncover, because I don't know when to stop talking. And then I'll talk about all of like the different ghost stories, like what people have claimed to have witnessed and things like that. And then also like a little bit of my own sort of conclusion at the end of it, but obviously leaving it all open to my audience. And yeah, apparently my audience really likes it. They have a lot to say in my comment section. Everyone's got their own opinions, and it's just been amazing so far, considering I'm less than a year in and I'm having so much fun doing this. It's just, yeah, it's been brilliant. But that's basically what I do.
You know what, Claire? When I started watching you last week, as soon as I started watching, you grip the audience. That's the best thing about it. And I mean, I've watched loads of podcasts. Not many podcasts. I don't watch that many as he watches podcasts. But I turn them off after 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Because I get bored. But with you talking about the history of the buildings and the places that you go into, well, if you go there, I don't know if you go there or what. Really, really brilliant. Honest to God, really interesting. And you're gripped. So I love all the history of all the buildings and all that. You know what I mean?
Do you know the good thing about it, Neil? Let's say I listen to the podcast more than anything, and it's just the narration is spot on. But what I like about it, Neil, she don't take herself too seriously. There's always a gag thrown in. There's always like a little bit of a cheeky little swear word here and there, you know. And it's like anything we always say with the paranormal. When we started all them years ago, and we was at a big convention, we said this is what we want to do. Paralytic activities, and we're going to talk about craft ales and haunted pubs and all this. People looked at us, didn't they?
Yeah,
because they knew.
Yeah, they did.
Because we're kind of comedians, and we thought we want to put a bit more fun into it, you know. Yeah. And that is just kind of what you're doing with your storytelling. So, you know, kudos to you. Hats off.
We're back on, quick.
I know, yeah. I'm surprised my wig didn't come off at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I found that a lot. Like when I was sort of initially doing that research, I found. And it's absolutely no shade on them, like fair play, but everyone's trying to tell a creepy story and they kind of have that little monotone, creepy voice. I'm like, mate, there was a ghost and it did this. Like, can you actually believe that? Like, that's kind of the vibe that I want to bring. Like, it doesn't have to be this whole creepy, serious thing. Like, these are people that lived and died and now they're coming back and haunting. Like, have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, I listen to you while I'm at work and it's perfect. It's perfect. Listening to, if you're going to listen to a really serious one, and creepy, you want to be in the dark, don't you? You want to be on your own and feel this the being scared, because that's the whole point about the paranormal, is actually feeling scared. If nothing happens, it doesn't matter, because you've already had that fear adrenaline, and that's the whole reason we got into it in the first place.
Yeah.
So Claire, question for you: what makes a good ghost story?
Oh, it's got to have a really good origin. It's got to have, for me, it needs a historical background that I can look at and I can say, yeah, this definitely happened because these were the sort of the dates and who this sort of person is. I can trace it all back. So I know that person absolutely definitely lived. And then also with the ghosts themselves, like they've got to have like a little bit of drama to it, to be honest. Like they've got to have sort of like a soap opera, really. So a lot of the stories that I'll cover and that like really interest me are the ones that they have a little bit of something going on, like maybe, I don't know, the wife has discovered the mistress or something like that, and there's like something that's going on, and yeah, I feel like it kind of helps you to connect to then the ghost that people are witnessing more. So you've got a name that you can call out with, and you know exactly what they're going to look like, and you know where they're going to be and everything, because this was where they found the mistress, in this house, sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I'd probably say.
I totally agree. It's like one of my favourite ghost stories. Whether it's real or not, it doesn't matter, because the debate is out there. Was when I was a kid, I used to have a book called The Myths and Legends and Folklore of Great Britain. And I must have read about Borley Rectory about 40 times. And like in that, the history of it, and not Harvey Price, not him, the other Price. And there was a mistress, and there was a nun or something like that, and there was writings all over the world, because there was more to the story than just there's a grey lady over there, end of story. Because that's a lot of ghost stories are like that. But then again, a lot of ghost stories are probably made up, Neil, to be honest.
Well, John, as we've said this before, when people say they saw a ghost, it's always a man with a top hat on, or it's a grey lady with a long flowing skirt.
Yeah.
Why come you never see somebody in a cap and a shell suit and stuff like that? I don't. Obviously, people have died who are young today, and people are gonna see them like 100 years time. You know what I mean? And that's what gets me. Like, I don't understand it.
That's the whole point. We don't know how it works. And it's like, I would love to go to an old discotheque, an haunted, abandoned discotheque, and hopefully find the ghost of Disco Stu from The Simpsons, with an afro, a gold medallion, big eels with fish in them, flares. But it's never going to happen. It's always a grey lady, it's always a white lady, or it's a monk. You know what I mean? A hooded monk.
A monk.
Yeah, always a monk. But like you say, it's about that. What makes a good ghost story? Because they're scary. Disco Stu doing the hand jive at the back of an abandoned disco ain't really scary, is it? Let's be honest.
Does it have to be, John? Ghost to ghost.
Well, this is very true, but people like ghost stories and like listening to Claire's stories because it gives them a bit of that fear and scares them. That's why it's called Don't Scare Claire.
No,
that's exactly what it says on the tin. So there you go. So Claire, which haunting or a grisly story is one of your favourites that you've told on the channel?
Oh,
there could be many.
There's so many to choose from. I think every video I'm like, this is a really interesting one. You really want to read? Of course, like all of my stories I find interesting, hence I did a video on them. But I would probably say, for me, just because I've got a personal connection to it, whether it's paranormal or not, that's jury's way still out. But Tamworth Castle and the ghost of the Black Lady. So again, another lady in a flowing dress. But the story here is that there was what's it called? Like a abbey where all the nuns are. There was one of those in Polesworth, and the guy that was living in Tamworth Castle at the time, Lord Marmion, he decided to shut down the abbey and basically kick the nuns out. And so the nuns were obviously very angry. They had nowhere to go. So it was said that they were praying furiously. And apparently all of this prayer meant that one of the nuns that used to live in the abbey like years and years ago, who had been made a saint afterwards, so she was now Saint Editha, she came to Lord Marmion at Tamworth Castle in her black nun's habit and peered over the bed at him and was apparently said, "Lord Marmion, take heed," and went on to say that like you need to reinstate the abbey, you need to let the nuns go back to the abbey, because if you don't, then you are going to meet a horrible sticky end, basically. And after that, she hit him with, I can't remember what it's called now, but it was like a stick, like a ceremonial stick that she had with her. And apparently his screams were heard all throughout the castle. And he had this wound on his side that just wouldn't heal. So he kind of like tried to play it off a little, like probably just fell out of bed or something, but it wouldn't heal. And eventually he thought, okay, maybe I need to sort of like put the nuns back where they belong, kind of thing. So he did. And then apparently the wound healed, I think, from what I can remember. So, but obviously that was a very terrifying encounter for him to see this black lady staring over his bed while he's like just asleep. And then now she has also apparently been seen on the haunted staircase, which I believe is the staircase that leads up to that bedroom where this encounter allegedly happened. And there is also a photo that, however you feel about paranormal photos, it potentially shows this entity being captured on camera from like the 1940s, I think it was. So I think that is probably my all-time favorite story so far.
And you did say Tamworth Castle, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, Tamworth Castle. I've got a little story about Tamworth Castle. Right over the road from the castle, there's a pub. It's a beefeater, and it's called the Lady Bridge. And I was working in there the one day because, like I say, I go to a lot of pubs doing artwork and stuff like that. And I was talking to the landlady, and she was telling me about how haunted the pub is. And there's a bit where you can go down and you can have your chicken wings and your steak and this, that, and the other. But it was part of the old. The tunnel came from the castle and into the pub. And it's still there, but you can't get to the tunnel. It's all been bricked up, but you can go down about 6 steps into this nice little alcove and have your Sunday carvery. But there, they used to use that as a walkthrough. Just said down there, a lot of people, especially in the morning at night, they've saw shadows down there in that little part of the pub.
Wow. That's not like an old building, is it? From what I can remember, it's by the Premier Inn, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how old the pub is, but obviously there must have been something there prior, and it leads onto the castle grounds, right by the car park. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's all it gets you up Tamworth Castle now.
We'll have to get there, John.
Yeah, I've been loads. I've been loads.
Yeah.
I've only been to the castle once, but I've never actually gone. I only went to the grounds and that, because you can actually walk without paying to a part of it. You can go up the steps and look over, but if you want to go into the castle, you have to pay a little bit. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tamworth Castle. It's only like 20 minutes away from us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I grew up around that area, so like we would always do like the school trips to it and everything like that. So yeah.
It's great, especially if you want to go on a toboggan down the ice rink now.
Toboggan?
Yeah, there's an ice rink there, and then you can do the old snowy toboggan thing. Yeah. What's it called?
Snow dome.
Snow dome. That's it.
Snow dome.
The snow dome. So going on to that little story, Claire, about the picture of the lady on the stairs in Tamworth Castle. So does this make you part believer, or are you skeptic, or are you a fence sitter? Are you a skeptical believer?
Yeah, I do have splinters on my bum, to be honest. I want to say that, like, yeah, I'm an optimistic skeptic. I want to believe that there is something going on out there. I mean, like, just look at how many reports of different things have happened over the centuries. Like, even way back in like the 1700s, they were reporting ghosts. Like, there's got to be something to it, surely. But it's when that starts getting muddied with like the claims that I'm just like, well, that didn't happen, did it? And it kind of casts that doubt in your mind, doesn't it? And I do find that with like, is not to discount anyone's experiences, but without me being there personally, I can never fully believe what anyone says, because I wasn't there. I didn't know what you experienced. I didn't know if there's cars going outside, like anything like that. Unless you experience something yourself, like there's always going to be that little shred of doubt in your mind, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like we always say, we Well, I was investigating about 7, 8 years ago, probably a bit longer than that, but not really properly. And now for the last 5 years. But it's like I don't like to say it now, but you go on a journey, a bit like the X Factor.
Yeah.
That you start off and you think, that's a ghost or that's paranormal, and that voice coming through the spirit box, even though it actually don't sound of anything, that actually said my name and this and you learn actually no, that isn't paranormal, and that noise was probably a car outside and the creaking floorboards, and you kind of you decipher what may be paranormal and what isn't. And I think we're at a stage now where, like yourself, we've got splinters on our arse.
Yeah.
The fact that we do sit on the fence, and even though we think we've had some good evidence through the years, we still question it, don't we?
Yeah. I mean,
was it real or not?
Claire, when I first started, I believed everything.
Everything.
I was blown away by it, But now, looking back, I think to myself, no, what on earth was I thinking? Honestly, I get more skeptical the more I do it. You know what I mean? It's a bit like UFOs, ain't it? I've never seen a UFO, but I do believe that there's something out there.
Definitely, but it's like it ain't just the fact that you are more skeptical, because there might have been things happening what could have been paranormal, but you just dismiss it completely. Do you know what I mean? So you gotta look at it from both sides, if you know what I mean. So going back to being a skeptical believer and stuff like that, can you tell us about any of your paranormal-esque experience that you have actually witnessed and actually make you think, what the bloody hell was that?
Yeah, so the ones that spring to mind immediately have been relatively recently, since I've started doing the channel. Because if I can, I will try and visit the location so I can, especially like if it's a museum, like they might have information boards where the information isn't online, so I can just get a little bit extra that way. And it was when we went to the National Justice Museum in Nottingham. And they do like different tours throughout the day, but in the evening they do a ghost tour. And the first thing that they do, I don't know if you've ever been to the National Justice Museum. The first thing that you'll do is you'll go into the old courtroom, and like this courtroom, it was used way up until like the late 20th century. But it's massive, it's huge, and it was where people were put to death, basically. Like that's where they were sentenced to die. And then I'm pretty sure on the table, like some of the criminals would have been dissected for like medical, like the lectures and stuff like that, when that was what the medical schools would use. And so we were in there in the first sort of section of the tour, and this tour was in darkness. It was just by like candlelight. There was like loads of LED candles everywhere. That's all you had. And we were sat on the benches, and she was telling us about all the ghosts and everything, and saying like, oh, you might see shadows on the balcony and things like that. And it could have just been my head, and that was all that was going on. But all of a sudden, I started feeling like I get aura migraines. So it's like where all my vision goes a bit weird and like my head really starts to hurt. And I started having one of those. And the first thing I thought was, please don't do this to me. I need to concentrate on this tour. I need to find all the information for my video. But it was just getting worse and worse. And I just happened to look up like towards the tour guide, and I saw this massive like bolt of lightning come across my face, like all just that way. And again, could have just been my eyesight, could have just been whatever going on in my head. But one of the things that the tour guide told us right at the start of the tour was, if you ever feel a bit weird, just try and ground yourself. So like put your feet on the ground, like breathe really slowly and just like relax. And that was it. So I tried it. I was like, put my feet on the ground, like, this isn't happening to me. I'm not doing this. And as soon as I said that, completely gone. I was completely fine the whole time. Whereas when I get migraines for days. And like, if I have one, that's it. Like, I'm out for the count. I need a dark room, or I'm going to be horrible to be around, basically. So yeah, that one's really stuck with me, and a bit like, yeah, could have just been a weird migraine-y thing, but I've never told a migraine to piss off and it's actually gone. So that was very different.
Unbelievable.
It is. So when you went to the Galleries of Justice, did you take a little detour to the ye old trip to Jerusalem?
I don't think we did on that evening, but because we live quite close to Nottingham, like we're always going into Nottingham anyway. And the last time I went to the trip was actually on my hag do. So me and my husband, we had a combined hen and stag do, and so we just did like different daytime drinking bits in Nottingham, and we ended up in the trip. So that was the last time we were there, which was a great night.
It's up there in my top 5 pubs in this country.
Yeah.
I
Is it?
absolutely love that place. The history's phenomenal. Just being in that building, and having a drink in a cave, it's just great.
It's mad, yeah. It's crazy.
What was that? When you go up the stairs, you got the what you call it?
The galleon.
The galleon.
Yeah, don't touch the galleon.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
If anybody's never been, you need to take a trip to the Yale trip.
Yeah.
And I don't mean take a trip, Neil. I know he's been for raving in the 90s. I don't mean that trip, Neil, before you get it in your head that you want a Dennis a Menace or something, or a rhubarb and custard. It ain't happening. You're too old for that kind of stuff now, son. You're too old for that. So, like you say, you've done fantastic stories of all the hauntings around England, even abroad and America and stuff like that. But I wanted to mention the places you've investigated, and you mentioned that you've actually been to Dudley Castle. Now, last week we had Jay Cooper on, who was a Dudley Ghost Walk tour guide for 14 years. And fantastic bloke, some amazing stories. So if you check it out, it's on our page. But what did you think of Dudley Castle?
As in for the investigation?
Yeah. Anything happen? Anything spooky?
So I went with Ghosts-on-Trent. It was actually my first official paranormal investigation. So yeah, really appreciate the guys taking me out on that one. There was a couple of weird moments. But I guess I feel like that's what I would say about all of my investigations that I've been on. Like, oh, that was a bit weird, but I can't discount that it was like, it definitely was paranormal or it wasn't kind of thing. But we had a little noise in the undercroft, so like underneath the old sort of castle-y bit, where there was this noise, and it was like a metallic noise, and we couldn't figure out how it had been made. Like there was water dripping from the ceiling, but it wasn't that sort of sound. So that was probably the weirdest thing that we encountered. But I think it's definitely got the potential to be haunted, like with how old it is, and with that photo as well that someone took of the grey woman in like the living quarters of the castle. Like that was insane. So I'd definitely like to go back and like try it again, I think.
Yeah, it's like Jay was telling us that, like I say, he's done it for 14 years. And there's a few things what he can't explain. It's like he mentioned the undercroft himself, and that fact that he heard a weird noise, like something was being dragged above him. So that is very interesting. But I want to go on to, because you did message me saying that you did investigate Shrewsbury Prison.
Oh yes.
Now I just want to quickly butt in, because Neil, when we went, what was happening? It was weird, wasn't it? It was very weird.
It was. I couldn't explain it. I mean, like, whether you believe in like K2s or another K2 you take with that, like, but it was just like it was in one of the cells, and there was no electricity in there whatsoever. There was nothing. We tested everything, and it was just started. It was nothing happening, was there? And it just started going mad. It's on the video that we've got, and we couldn't explain. We tried to debunk everything, David John.
Yeah.
We thought, why is that happening?
Yeah, well, you was even on debunked beds, weren't you?
He
was on the
debunked beds. And I thought Shrewsbury Prison was fantastic. Really did. I mean, they got where they used to hang the people, and still got the noose there, aren't they, in the room.
Yeah.
The first person that got hung there was named John Smith.
Which is my name, Claire, if you didn't know. Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe I was one of the first people who hung. No one.
You would be the first person I'd hang, to be honest.
So, did anything happen while you was at Shrewsbury?
I think that was a difficult one, because I'm pretty sure we went on a Saturday, and so like where Shrewsbury is, they've got that club like just down the road from it, haven't they?
Yeah.
And so there was a club night going on for a little bit. So we had the dulcet tones of Elvis Presley playing while we were like trying to investigate, which, yeah, depending on how you feel.
Well, you was in the ghetto.
That is true. Yes, I hadn't thought about that.
What jailhouse rock was he?
But then also it was a public investigation. So, and I know that Shrewsbury is a very big place, but with 60 other people milling about, it's just hard to say, oh, that weird noise definitely was something paranormal, because you can't guarantee that there wasn't someone just like going through a wing or anything like that. But again, I'd really like to actually go and investigate it with like a smaller group and just see what you could sort of capture. I mean, it was absolutely terrifying in the dark. They said that they were going to leave me alone in C Wing, and I just couldn't. I bottled it because I was that terrified of it. But
I mean, like we knew the tour guide down there. What forgot her name now?
I don't know, but she looked like someone from Stranger Things, don't you?
Yeah, but like she said, when the tour go around the jail, if you can just go and spin off and do an investigation by yourself.
Yeah,
There was nobody around us.
Yeah, so
So
we
there's
went
only
on
us
our own.
three.
Yeah,
It was great,
oh,
man.
that's cool.
It was
Yeah.
great.
yeah, and it's like there was me, Neil, and the Riddler, Luke, and there was two, because it was a sleepover, but we had free tickets, so we only went to do investigate it. Then we was going out. We weren't going to stop over because obviously the bar was open and it's just people getting drunk basically. We ain't got a problem with that because more than likely Neil wanted to stay, but two lads started playing up, now they.
Yeah.
And they got kicked out, and Luke goes,
Yeah.
"That's the first person I've saw someone get kicked out of a prison."
Right.
It is. But we did have some weird experiences at one of the entrances where they used to bring in the convicts, and they had to like weigh them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weird stuff going on. We could hear murmuring, and we could hear the whimpering, and what some of the trip hazards were going off, and this, that, and the other. So that was quite interesting. But I just want to quickly move on to Tudor World, the Falstaff experience.
Ooh.
You know, what an amazing place. You know, even if you go there for a tour in the day, it's still a great little tour.
It is.
But we was there, and nothing really happened all night apart from 10 minutes. We had 10 minutes of mayhem and then nothing. You know, and I think that's what it is. People come and spirits or energies come around you, see what you're doing, and then piss off.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. They're not performing monkeys. Like we don't actually know what they really are. So you're not going to be able to rely on a consistent stream of paranormal activity. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, this is very true.
Exactly.
And I think the Falstaff is one of them places where we've had it a couple of times where I'll call them watchers, that they come in, look what you're doing, see if you're pissing around, if you're being entertaining, they'll come and say hello, dance around you for a bit, and then bugger off.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? And they'll leave you alone. And you know what? That'll do for me. That will.
As I say, like I've never seen a ghost, but I've been in places like the Falstaff when we was there, and it's just a weird atmosphere. It just changes in the room. And that's the only experience I've really had. And it's a fantastic experience. Everybody looking at each other going, what the hell?
What's all that about?
Yeah, and then like some of the equipment starts going off and you're like, get excited. Like. But that's all that's really happened all the time we've been doing it.
So, Claire, we are, like I said, Paralytic Activities podcast. And we love a good old haunted pub. And we have a saying when we go in one. We all go to the landlord or the landlady and go, how old is the building? What's the history? Is it haunted? And can we go down the cellar? And we also ask if they do Bombay mix and pork scratchings, but that's irrelevant. So which of the haunted pubs that you've researched that you would love to just sit in, listen to the history and the ghost stories with a nice alcoholic drink and a few salty snacks? So which is the one that you would love to go in, which we haven't been in yet?
Which I haven't been in yet. Probably back in Nottingham. I'm ashamed that I haven't actually been in it, being so close to Nottingham. But Ye Old Salutation Inn, which is another one that like is vying to be the oldest inn in Nottingham. Again, it's got the caves, and I've actually just done a video on it, so like I'm quite clued up at this one. That's probably why I chose it. But it was very important in the Civil War, so it had quite a few connections there. And a lot of drama, and apparently a lot of ghosts, with one landlord claiming that there was up to 89, which seems like a lot. And yeah, it just seems like such a reach, but even so, I'll sit there and drink and listen to them.
Exactly. 89 ghosts. That means 89 stories. That's a lot of alcohol to be consumed. You know,
Exactly.
actually, Neil, write that down. Put it on the list
I
because
ain't got a
we've never
pen.
been there either.
I don't know. There was another pub like that, John.
Well, the ye old, is it Salutation or something like that?
Salutation, yeah.
And the ye old Trip, both vie which one's the oldest. No one really knows, so they're just like,
Oh,
you know.
I don't even know that.
It's like talking of pubs. I've never been to the Golden Fleece in York. I've never been to the Ye Old Starred Inn. Is it the Ye Old Starred Inn
Yeah.
in York? And I've never been to the Skirrid Inn. Can you believe it? Can you bloody believe it, Neil? But I am going to both of them next month, which is happy days. Happy
Lucky
bloody
you, mate.
days.
Lucky you. Aye.
Now, there is some places that you've been to. I mean, I don't know if you've been investigating in these places, but you've actually been to them. You've been to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. You've been to Alton Towers. The Wookie Hole. I love the Wookie Hole. Love Alton Towers. I mean, did you ever visit the Chained Oak?
No, because actually I didn't know it was there, and also Hex was closed when I was there, so I had absolutely
Wow.
no idea of this curse until I started researching for the video. So I was like, massive opportunity missed there.
You know, we did, and I tell you what, it's phenomenal, eh, John?
Oh yeah, it's like
I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It's like,
yeah. Now there's three different stories around the Chained Oak. One is the story from the Ride Hex about the witch's curse. There's another one where they just wanted to chain it up because it was falling on people as the coaches went past. But there's also another one as well, which I can't remember as we speak. But either way, there's a big, massive oak, old as shit, covered in chains and steps leading up to it. Now, apparently, the steps are older than the oak. Apparently, yeah.
Did you say that you've investigated Blackpool Pleasure Beach?
I've not investigated, no, but I have been, yeah.
Oh, God. Have you got a podcast on that?
Yes, that's actually my first ever episode, so it's only a tiny little baby 10-minute one, but
I'm going to have to
still gives
watch
you a bit
it.
of a ghost.
Did you mention Cloggy while he was there?
Of course, yeah. You
Without
can't talk
Cloggy.
about Pleasure Beach without talking about Cloggy.
Well, he's got his clogs, hasn't he, John? In
Yeah,
Nottingham. In Nottingham.
No, not Nottingham,
Not
Neil.
Nottingham.
Stoke.
Yeah, Stoke up museum, ain't he?
The Haunted Museum, Neil. Get your words out, son. The Haunted Museum in Stoke. He's got his clogs, hasn't he, in the museum?
He's actually got his clogs, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I haven't been to the Stoke one. I've only been to the
Fantastic.
Nottingham one.
Fantastic, honest to God, really good. I've been to
I'll have
Nottingham
to
one,
go.
and I think the Stoke one is better.
Well, one of our last investigations, Claire, we done was the Robin Hood experience.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
Nottingham.
cool.
And it's good, but the tour guide, Jesus Christ. Now, we talked about people who believe in everything, and there's 89 ghosts there. Well, there's a ghost in every room. There's one in the till. There was one in the till as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course.
Yeah, as you do. Till ghosts. I've never had a till ghost before. You know what I mean? But we had a laugh anyway. It was fantastic. Like I say, anybody wants to go and watch the video, it's on our channel. But talking of like Alton Towers and Blackpool Pleasure Beach, did you know there is a haunted section of Thorpe Park?
Is there? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's right where the ride Storm Surge is. It's right there. There's a story about. I've actually got it somewhere, but I can't see it because my eyesight's crap. But yeah, Thorpe Park is also reportedly haunted.
Mm.
Oh, well, that's going in the schedule then. I've got to cover that one.
Exactly. And if you would like to mention us on your little story,
Absolutely, yeah.
that would be bloody fantastic. So, Neil, we do a little section called Orange Spills the Juice. So Neil here, Claire, is one of the most unluckiest, clumsiest people in the world. He's so clumsy, he once got tangled up in a cordless phone. That's how clumsy he is. And he is also that unlucky that he once got fired from a blowjob. How about that? Now that is unlucky.
Yeah, John. You're getting all this crap from.
So, Neil, you have to run through these quickly because we've already done 45 minutes.
It's only a little in this week.
That's why he got fired from the blowjob. So this is called the pub and restaurant incidents. Neil, take it away.
Well, it was a Sunday afternoon, and about 15, 20 years ago, you had these sizzler pubs, when the food comes out and you're still cooking on the plate. I've got to try one of these. So we went to this sizzler pub called the Hussey Arms. And anyway, I forgot what I ordered, and it come out.
A sizzler, Neil?
Yeah, it's piping off like. I was like, woohoo! Look at this. Anyway, I went to put some vinegar on it, right, and the top come off. So as I put the vinegar on it, it's gone like a puff of smoke, right? We set the fire alarms off, right? And then we had to empty the old pub. Yeah, so that's a quick one, like, you know what I mean? You said, really quick. But yeah, I felt like a right.
Neil, I thought you was going to tell us about when you went to Nando's and you thought you'd be Billy Big Bollocks and have the hot sauce on your chicken.
I know, yeah.
They nearly had to get the paramedics out.
Oh, they did, yeah. Oh, I thought I was going to die. My tongue was swelling up. My cackle at the back of my throat was swelling up.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, bless his cotton socks, Claire. Bless his cotton socks.
You got it.
Claire, have you heard of Room 101?
I have indeed. Yes.
So we do a little section called Haunted Room 101. So we are giving you the opportunity to banish 3 things from the paranormal world forever. It could be places, people, equipment, stories, anything you want that you can banish. Get into Haunted Room 101, never to be seen again. Claire, go for it.
Oh, okay. So the first one is probably going to be paranormal investigation hangovers. Like, you know, when you just feel absolutely naff the day before and you just can't do anything because you were out running around a dark room until 4 a.m. That can absolutely get in room 101.
Neil, get it in room 101.
Yes.
Paranormal hangovers. You're the first person to ever say that.
Yeah, you am.
And we all hate it. All of us hate it. We're also proud to say that we've got one as well, which is weird.
Well, I'll tell people about I do who've never been on an investigation. And they go, what are you on about? And it just really happened.
It fucks you up for a bit.
I had 20 points in 1 week. I didn't have a drink.
It's like if you're out till you finish an investigation 2 or 3 in the morning, you get home about 4. Can you go to sleep? Can you, bollocks?
No. Drained.
And then all of a sudden you're awake at 9. You think, I've only had 3 hours. What's going on?
No.
You wake up and you feel like shit. No energy at all. No energy at all. So, you know, that's the first one. Number 2, please, Claire.
I'm probably going to go a little bit more general, and some people may have already put these in room 101, but I'm going to have to say egos in the whole paranormal scene. There's just a lot of it, isn't there? So, yeah.
You know what? That is fantastic.
That is a fantastic. You're the only one who's ever put egos in there
as well.
Oh. Yeah. Well, yeah, get it right in there then.
Neil, get it in. Get it in. Egos,
honestly.
The paranormal is full of egos. There are some people out there who think they're better than other people, and they think they're professional, and this, that, and that, and look down on people like us who actually like to enjoy it and stuff. Yeah. You know, so yeah, in you go. Last one, Claire, if you have one.
It's got to be demons in YouTube videos. That just stop. Just it's not a demon, is it? Like, clearly, come on.
Claire, I'm going to take my hat off to you again. You're the only person who's put 3 original things into
fantastic.
Haunted Room 101. Again, demons do need to go in there, Neil.
They do. Because
obviously demons don't exist. I mean, when people say there's a demonic presence or a demonic entity or someone's possessed, well, I mean, I've used it myself. The wife has shouted at me for not making the bed or leaving the toilet seat up, and I just say the devil made me do it. You know what I mean? The devil made me do it. You know, if people can get away with murder and the devil made them do it, I can get away with leaving the toilet seat up. So I use that myself. But the way I see it with demonic entities and this, that, and the other people, I think it's just a person who was horrible in a past life, and they're just horrible in the spirit world. Simple as that. Don't mean you got horns and a tail and you eat up a big fork. Nothing to do with that at all.
Well, somebody we know, ain't it, John?
Literally
no names. No names at all.
No names at all, no.
But he's even got a certificate on his wall in his house that he was a demonologist.
Yeah.
How do you get a certificate on it? I'm sure he made it himself.
You can get anything off the internet now, Neil. You can get anything off the internet. Well, it was in crayon.
Like, really? Come on.
Well, it was in crayon. So, yeah, Neil, that was Claire's Haunted Room 101.
Fantastic.
3 original answers. Absolutely bloody fantastic. So, Neil, we'll move straight on because we've got 10 minutes left.
Yes.
10 minutes left. Now, we like to do this little section, Claire, which is all about yourself. It's called Claire's Quick Fire 10. Now,
Okay.
it's an easy game. I'm going to give you 10 questions and you give me 10 answers. And all you got to do is yes or no.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. We did try it last week with Jay Cooper, but he was a bit hard because he wasn't just saying yes or no. Bless his cotton socks.
Aw.
But you do get a couple of seconds, just think about it. But we do want them to be quick fire. So the first thing what comes into your head. Okay, you ready? Claire's quick fire 10, Neil. Number 1, are the Ouija boards a way to communicate with the dead?
Ooh. Yes.
Does Bigfoot have a Netflix account?
No.
Can an object have an attachment?
Yes.
Are aliens already amongst us?
Yes.
Is the Venga bus better than a sucker bus?
Yes.
Everyone says yes to the Venga bus.
I know, they do.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Claire, would you beat a poltergeist at a game of Jenga?
Absolutely not. No.
Is Don't Scare Claire better than Claire's accessories?
Yeah, obviously.
Are paranormal phone apps a load of shite?
Yeah, they are.
Is the chained elk at Alton Towers a real story? Now, we've already said this, so you can say whatever you want.
No.
And your last one for Claire's quickfire 10, are ghosts real?
Yes.
So there you go. There, Claire, that was an easy one. Your quickfire 10.
I survived.
So going back to the Ouija boards, it's always a touchy subject, isn't it? I mean, Neil, please do not say the gag one more time because people are going to start turning off if they hear the same gag again.
I know.
It's a great gag, though. It's a great gag. We'll tell you after the show the gag. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people, Ouija boards, this, that, and the other. I mean, personally, no, but everyone's out to their own. Anything that you can manipulate yourself,
Yeah.
I don't trust, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
Remember that window cleaner that come through, John?
the window cleaner.
Yeah. It was a squeegee board. No, man.
Claire, we got 8 minutes, so we need to do this quite quick. Do you like a milkshake, Claire?
Yeah.
Neil, do you like a milkshake?
You know I like a milkshake, John.
We'll get your choppers around this.
I'm a bit like Khalees, I am, John.
Now, this is my favourite section. Is to flip the screen because I'm a massive horror fan, Claire. I love horror, and we do a little section called "Guess the Horror Shit Title." Now, I'm giving you're the first ever guest to actually try and guess this horror title, and Neil can guess as well. So, the movie tonight is called Eddie, and it's 2012 horror film, directed by Boris Rodriguez. Claire, what do you think it's about?
Is it like a slasher film?
Well, no, but not.
Okay.
No. Neil, any ideas what Eddie's about?
Eddie, is Eddie his name, or is it like?
I'm not giving you any clues, Neil. The film's called Eddie. What is it about? First thing that comes to your head.
Eddie, John?
It's about Eddie. Are you Eddie from Bottom?
Eddie, is he a man with a big head that runs around killing people?
Eddie the Big Head. Big Eddie.
No.
No, it's actually a film about a skier who goes on a killing spree, killing people with his skis. Eddie the Eagle.
Of course.
It's
Yeah.
I just made that up, Claire. Sorry.
Unbelievable.
The film's called Eddie. Now, Eddie suffers from a rare form of sleepwalking that transforms him into a docile, serial-obsessed art student, but he's got a ravenous sleepwalking trait. When he's sleepwalking, Claire, he turns into a cannibal and just starts eating people while he's asleep.
Oh my God.
He's a gentle giant by day, but at night is a ravenous meat eater. Put it on the list,
Well,
Neil. We're watching it
I'm
later.
watching that.
We're watching it later. Yeah, so that's our little thing called Guess the Horror title. Both good guesses, but no cigar, apparently. So, Lost Boys, Claire, we heard that this is your favourite film. Can you tell us why it's your favourite film?
I mean, whenever I watch it, I'll have Cry Little Sister stuck in my head for at least a week afterwards. So that's always going to stick in my mind. But it's my parents. I was brought up very much around like film culture and things like that, and so we always used to on like sci-fi and creature features about creatures that's going to eat you. But then they put on Lost Boys, and little, I don't know what, 10-year-old me just absolutely fell in love with David. I think he was my first crush before I even knew what a crush was, to be honest. So yeah,
see that, Neil.
I was the same.
Yeah, Neil, if you look at Neil's hair, Claire, if he had a nice mullet going on, you got the same hair as David.
I know, John, and I drink blood.
Do you?
Sometimes.
Don't drink anything, Claire. Trust me. I've been on a session with him many times. But on the same, The Lost Boys to me is one of the. It's up there in my top 5 films of all time. Horror comedy. It's like I always get to I can put The Lost Boys on any time of the day, any day of the week. But I always get to a point where I kind of like, what's that many times? It's the point, Neil. Just after the Tim Cappella's been on with his saxophone, and the bike chase has happened, and then I kind of like, do you know what? I'm done. All the best songs have been on. Power Play by Eddie and the Tide, In Excess have been on, Neil. Cry Little Sister. Well, that's at the start of the film, not any time of the day. Oh, well, what's that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
1,000
Turn it
times.
off after that.
Because what's the best bits?
Seriously, no matter with you.
I love it. I mean, sometimes I watch it all, but sometimes I go,
Shocking.
I've had my taste of The Lost Boys now for the week, and
get out, hand your fan card back in. You can't watch it all the way through.
It's true. It's when I see that kite, Claire, that he always puts me off. I don't know what the reference of the kite. I don't get it. I don't get it, Neil.
I don't get it, John, but it's good, ain't it?
Do you know the scene, Claire, where they're in the comic shop?
Yeah.
And there's them 2 hippies asleep in the corner. They're the real owners of the shop, Neil.
Are they?
Yeah. They are the real owners of the shop.
You can actually get to Santa Carla and watch The Lost Boys on the beach.
No, you can't, Neil.
You can?
You can't. It's because it's Santa Cruz, Neil.
Oh, Santa Cruz. Santa
Cruz. I would love to go to Santa Cruz and watch The Lost Boys on the beach. That would be absolutely bloody fantastic. But did you know, Claire, that in the original script, the vampires were going to be, the Lost Boys were going to be really young, and it was going to be tagged as Goonies Go Vampire. That's how it was going to start. I'm glad they didn't, because the Goonies were more like the Frog Brothers, and the Lost Boys are one of the coolest motherfuckers ever. So
cool. Unbelievably cool.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Kiefer Sutherland plays David to perfection.
Absolutely.
To perfection. And did you notice that David always wears a bandage?
Yes.
And the reason he wears a bandage, because he fell off his bike in one of the scenes and broke his wrist.
Oh, right. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And another little fact for you, Claire, before we wrap up this episode, Neil. There was a famous actor who was going to be a Lost Boy, but he didn't get the part. Can you tell me who it was, Neil?
Johnny Depp.
Claire, can you tell me who it might have been?
I have no idea.
I'll give you the clue, Neil.
Johnny Depp?
No, I'll give you a clue. See if you can get this, Claire, from this little clue.
Okay.
Sir, could I trouble you for a glass of water? You could trouble me for a glass of shut the hell up.
Not Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller? Ben Stiller was going to be a Lost Boy.
How old's Ben Stiller, John?
I don't know. But then again, he probably is a vampire. He's 103.
Did you know last year at Oricon in Manchester, bowlers were like arriving. Anyway, they have an Oricon there. What's it called, John?
I have no idea.
And all the Lost Boys cast were there.
Stop it.
Otherwise, Tim Capello, all the
bare chested with his baby oil
on the stage joking. Kiefer Sutherland was there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, No, it needs to be David Kiefer Sutherland. I can't do the older Kiefer Sutherland now. It's got to be like David or nothing.
Not from 24. Bugger off 24.
No, absolutely not.
But they have one every year there, and they have all like Edinburgh films, obviously, all the casts and all that. There's one this year. I might go actually.
Okay, Neil. Claire, you got 30 seconds to plug your stuff. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like history and you like your ghosts thrown in, then maybe you might like my channel. If you've enjoyed this interview, this is pretty much how I am in my videos. So yeah, head over to Don't Scare Claire. I've got something very exciting coming in October, so you're kind of going to want to see what it is.
You can share it on our page, Claire, and we'll even share it as well for you. Not a problem. Because we're caring and sharing, ain't you? Caring and sharing. So, Claire, you've been a fantastic guest. I think we're going to have you on again because we could
100%.
talk and talk forever.
Yeah.
We're just going to quickly put you in the green room. Will you stay online just so we can have a little 5-minute chat after the show? Fan-bloody-tastic.
Cheers, Claire.
Thank you.
So there you go, Neil. Another fantastic guest.
Fantastic, John.
You could talk to her all night, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's absolutely
That's
brilliant.
another show in the making. Don't Scare Claire, part 2.
And you know, Summer, as I say, I've started watching some of Claire's stuff, right? And I'll tell you what, it is fantastic. If you like the history and the way she narrates it, as I say, it is top class, honestly. It really is. I've subscribed, so.
And on that bombshell there, people, Neil, we have a little saying, don't we?
Yeah.
All I want to say is thanks for watching or listening. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, and share this podcast. Now, if you do that, you will do for me. So this goes out to all you ghost catchers, you alien twitchers, you horror junkies, or you cryptid stalkers. If you are out investigating this week and you don't get any spirits, just do what we do. Neil, what do?
We drink them instead.
We drink them instead. So we'll see you, Neil.
Yeah.
In 2.
You're dead, mate!